So there's a very big push right now by the media, by experts, by the universities, just everywhere. It's everywhere that America was not founded under the Christian God. This is an 100% absolute lie in every single way, and it shows how the people that really are communist or support the communists, so the media, the universities, that's why they march with Hamas and terrorist organizations. I mean, it's very clear, all the communists, right? And that is exactly the type of people that would want to get into a Christian nation and try to destroy it. The fact is that the very people that they get on the news or whatever show to try to dispute this fact, those are all people that don't even know God. Think about it. Noah Yuval Harari, who has referred to people as useless eaters, who says this mythical God in the sky, he's never even attempted to learn about God. He hasn't. Or any attempt he made wasn't really an attempt. It just basically was listening to whatever professors he was taught by, that then just pass it down that this God thing is a myth. No, if you go on foundersarchives.gov, you can see, regardless of which founder it is, that God was very much intertwined in everything. And if you go back even before the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, where it ultimately all began, which I've mentioned so many times because I've been saying this for 3 years now, is it goes to the covenant. The covenant is huge. There's many covenants in the Bible made with God and people. The founders that stepped on Plymouth, the Pilgrims, those names you never hear about, like Bradford, and that's where ultimately God became there's a reason why we say a nation under God. There's a reason why the things written down about America, like the Star-Spangled Banner and the Pledge of Allegiance and us being under God, it is because of that covenant that the Pilgrims made. So that covenant has been, no matter what people say, I'm 100% stand by this, that it is that reason that America has prospered. Okay, it is also can be what is the most detrimental to us, and why a lot of things are happening right now is because God's lifted some of that protection. Because even in our worst days of listening and following communists, God has still protected us, but now it's reached this pivotal point. Look, even George Washington himself, you can go on YouTube and search George Washington's angel vision. This was a vision he had when he was awake. It was in his office, and this angel had showed him these three, he referred to it differently than challenges, but these three major challenges that the new America, young nation under God would face. And I would say we're like in the third challenge right now. But these major hurdles, and then that's the only time he had this vision. It's written about in archives.gov. So when the demonic media wants to carry on about how we're not a Christian nation, none of that is true. There's no facts for it. There's no facts for it for them because they've never gone about finding God. Okay? The people at the World Economic Forum they've never attempted to get to know God. But there's plenty of people in this country and even in other countries that know God because you have that relationship. You went down the right path, you know. And so if you know, then you also know that God and America is intertwined because of the covenant. Furthermore, people need to understand too that the reason this is so important is because the early Americans believed that God, by geographically separating the U.S. from Europe, had given them a chance to create the ultimate government. It stood to reason then that he also wanted them to spread that government to unenlightened people. And this may be shocking, but Early Americans saw their Constitution as the ultimate virtuous expression of being an enlightened government of thought, being an expression of enlightened government thought. Now, when you read the writings of, say, George Washington, you can see that because God is very much a part of their thought process. You can tell in their writings. So does it seem like that at this time in our history that they're in Washington on the Hill? Is it an enlightened government thought? No. I mean, not even close. Not even a little bit. No, we're really just one step from going straight into hell. Let's face it. But this, of course, is what would happen to America, because what that wicked energy does is want to destroy the nation that many early Americans saw as America being the new Israel. Yeah. So that's really important. And just a little bit more to understand why, no, we are a Christian nation. That doesn't mean, what people like to scare everybody with is that, oh no, we're going to go back to some Stone Age. What? To respecting the America's values, where we were a prosperous country before the slavery crap all began and all this hating? Like, that's so bad? I mean, I don't... Look, at the end of the day, God will be the ultimate judge. Letitia James can take all of Trump's properties, but all these people are doing that seem to be consumed with the demon of corruption, is showing that the courts can't do the right thing. They're either too weak to do the right thing, they aren't strong enough to stand up, or they're just too filled with the demon of corruption. But see, there's a judge that is over them, and that judge is God. And the reason there is a judge over all of that is because of the covenant made with God with the Pilgrims. That ultimately that means that if all the courts fail, well then, yeah, God steps in. It's the way it is. And not to say that God doesn't care about any other nation. It's just there's a reason there's that special uniqueness with America. It's because of that covenant made. There's many other people that are Christians in other nations, and God protects them. It doesn't mean God doesn't see them as important. But in the case of America, that's huge. That's what it's most important. So here's some things to think about. Why did Christopher Columbus assert that he was guided by an angel at his moments of greatest distress? What prompted the original colonists to embrace the notion that the land of America was the new Israel? What power urged Washington and his ragtag army to successfully stand against the greatest military power in the known world? What left our nation grieving, humbled, and repentant after the desolation of the Civil War? What's the secret behind this nation's unsurpassed record of prosperity, protection, and liberty? That one's huge. What are the responsibilities and consequences resting on a people so blessed? Now, I know many people would say, oh, I'm not blessed. No, we really are compared to other nations. We just tend to take it for granted and bitch and complain more. Granted, we're not looking good right now, but that's because we've gotten too way off track. And not everybody will get on board with that. Most will try to destroy what people like me say. But again, those are the same people that look at where they've taken our country. The answer to these and many other questions relating to our country's real national treasure is it can be found. It's based on the covenant with God. So I just would encourage people to remember that, because the media and the experts of the university that aren't expert at anything except being expert at not knowing God are going to push this agenda that America was not a nation founded under God. It absolutely was. And it just shows how they lie about even God. So what does that tell you? Where God rates in their book.